The research station Mariner 14 drifted in silent orbit around the massive gas giant Helios Prime, its sleek white hull catching the distant starlight. In the station's central laboratory, Dr. Alyssa Porter studied the atmospheric data streaming across her screens, marveling at the intricate patterns of the storm systems below. After 15 years of conflict resolution and diplomatic tensions, humanity had found peace among the stars, establishing research outposts like this one in neutral zones where scientists from every nation work together. Admiral Jordan Cross stood on the command deck of Earth's orbital defense platform, watching the holographic display of all human assets scattered across the solar system. His graying beard and weathered face spoke of decades spent protecting Earth's interests, yet the past 5 years have been blissfully quiet. Still, something in his gut told him to remain vigilant. Combat veterans learn to trust their instincts, and Cross had survived more battles than most. Lieutenant Marcus Wu patrolled the security corridor of Mariner 14, his footsteps echoing in the pristine halls. His training kept his eyes sharp, scanning for any anomaly, any sign of trouble. The station housed 23 researchers, 8 technicians, and 11 family members, including 6 children. Unlike many of his colleagues who had grown comfortable with the extended peace, Wu maintained his readiness as if war might break out tomorrow. The first sign something was wrong came at 14:30 station time. Dr. Porter frowned at her screen as strange signal interference disrupted her atmospheric readings. The wave patterns didn't match any known natural phenomenon or equipment malfunction. She adjusted the detection array, trying to isolate the source, but the interference grew stronger, creating a blanket of static across multiple frequencies. "Computer, run a full diagnostic on sensor array Alpha 7, she commanded, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Diagnostic complete. No hardware or software errors detected, the AI responded. Porter leaned back in her chair, troubled. In her 16 years of atmospheric research, she'd never encountered such readings. She tapped her communicator. "Whoa, this is Dr. Porter. Could you stop by the lab when you have a moment? I'm picking up some anomalous data that's got me concerned." "On my way, Doctor," Wu replied, already turning toward the research section. When Wu arrived, Porter showed him the interference patterns. His trained eyes noticed something she'd missed. The patterns showed a slight regularity, like a heartbeat hidden beneath the noise. "That's not natural interference," Wu said grimly. "Those spikes are too consistent. Something's actively disrupting our sensors." Before they could investigate further, the station's communication array went dead. Every channel to Earth, every relay to nearby colonies, every emergency beacon, all silent. The station's main screen flashed red warning symbols as system after system reported communication failure. "Red alert." Wu's voice echoed through the station's speakers. "All personnel to designated safety zones. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." On Earth, the sudden loss of contact with Mariner 14 triggered automatic alerts in the Global Council Situation Room. Admiral Cross was summoned from his quarters, arriving to find his staff gathered around the central display showing Mariner 14's last position. "Sir, we lost all communication with the station 6 minutes ago," reported Communications Officer Sarah Chun. "We've attempted contact through all channels. Nothing." Cross studied the display, his warrior instincts flaring. "Launch a probe. I want eyes on that station within the hour. And prepare a light cruiser for immediate deployment." "Admiral, shouldn't we wait to confirm the nature of the problem?" asked Council Member James Harrison, a man known for his cautious approach to military matters. "It could be a simple system failure." "Simple system failures don't kill every communication channel simultaneously," Cross growled. "We prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Ready to EDS. Orion for launch." Back on Mariner 14, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Power fluctuations rippled through the station systems. In the engineering section, Chief Engineer Lisa Martinez watched helplessly as power levels dropped inexplicably. Emergency lighting kicked in, casting eerie shadows through the corridors. "The reactors are running at full capacity, but we're losing power somewhere," she reported over the internal comm. It's like something's draining our energy right out of the station. Wu had gathered the civilian population in the main recreation area, the most structurally sound section of the station. Children clung to their parents, while scientists clutched whatever data they'd managed to save. Dr. Porter moved among them, trying to maintain calm despite her own fears. Listen carefully, Wu addressed the group. We don't know what's happening, but I need everyone to follow emergency protocols. No one goes anywhere alone. We stay together, and we stay alert. Then came the first attack. A section of the outer hull, near the docking bay, exploded inward with controlled precision. The blast wasn't random chaos. It was surgical, calculated. Through the sensors that still functioned, Wu could make out shapes moving through the smoke. Humanoid, but wrong somehow, their movements too fluid, too fast. The invaders wore environmental suits that seemed to bend light around them, making them nearly invisible in the station's corridors. They moved with military precision, targeting specific sections: the armory, the communication hub, and most disturbingly, the research archives where all of Mariner 14's data was stored. Wu coordinated the station's meager defenses. The security team, numbering only 4, armed themselves with emergency weapons, plasma cutters, and industrial tools repurposed for combat. They knew they were outmatched, but they also knew they had civilians to protect. Dr. Porter, Wu called across the comm. Whatever these things are after, they're heading for your research section. Is there anything there they might want? Porter thought quickly. We've been studying Helios Prime's unique magnetic field interactions. The data could theoretically be used to develop new shielding technology or weapons. Weapons, Wu finished darkly. They're not here to negotiate. They're here to steal and silence. On Earth, the probe's first images from Mariner 14 shocked the Global Council into action. The station showed clear signs of assault, burn marks, breached sections, and most telling, the presence of 3 unknown vessels in cloaked orbit. The ships became visible only when the probe's enhanced scanners penetrated their stealth technology. Those aren't any ships in our database, Admiral Cross stated. Their design suggests technology beyond anything we've encountered. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some members called for immediate military action, others for more intelligence gathering. Cross slammed his fist on the table. While we argue, our people are dying out there. The Orion is ready. I'm sending her in. But the decision came too late. The EDS, Orion, responding to Cross's orders, vanished from all tracking systems the moment it entered the Helios Prime system. Its last transmission was a single word: impossible. The invaders on Mariner 14 had methodically worked their way through the station. They'd captured the main research database, disabled all escape pods, and cornered the survivors in the recreation area. Their leader, a tall figure in an advanced suit that shimmered with internal energy, stood before Wu and his makeshift defensive line. Through a translator device, a mechanical voice spoke. Surrender the atmospheric data, and the civilians will be spared. Wu raised his weapon. That's not how this works. You don't get to attack us and then make demands. The leader tilted its head, as if genuinely confused by human resistance. Your species is not meant to understand these atmospheric patterns. The knowledge is dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Dr. Porter stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. We've been studying atmospheric phenomena for centuries. Not like this. These storms hide secrets that could shift the balance of power across multiple systems. The standoff lasted mere seconds before Wu fired, striking the leader's shield. The return fire was devastating. Advanced energy weapons cut through the station's infrastructure like paper. The defenders fell one by one, their primitive weapons useless against the invaders' technology. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Cross had taken matters into his own hands. Without waiting for council approval, he'd mobilized the entire Earth defense fleet. 23 warships, including the mighty EDS. Nova, Earth's most advanced battlecruiser, prepared for emergency launch. Sir, the council is demanding you stand down, Chen warned. The council can court-martial me later. Right now, I'm not letting our people die alone in the dark. Cross's eyes burned with determination. All ships engage quantum drives. We're going to war. The battle commenced as Earth's fleet dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Helios Prime system. The enemy ships, confident in their stealth technology, were caught off guard by Earth's sudden appearance. Target their largest vessel. Cross commanded from the Nova's bridge. All ships, full spread. Show them Earth's fury. The first salvo lit up the void. Earth's kinetic weapons and plasma cannons struck with precision, overwhelming the enemy shields through sheer firepower. The largest hostile ship, a kilometer-long vessel that looked like a predatory insect, responded, with weapons that warped space itself. Evasive maneuvers. Cross shouted as reality twisted around Nova's position. 3 of Earth's destroyers weren't fast enough. They crumpled like aluminum cans as gravitational fields compressed them into twisted metal. The battle raged for hours. Earth's fleet, though technologically inferior, fought with desperation and coordination the enemy hadn't anticipated. Ships weaved through asteroid fields, using the gas giant's gravity well as a weapon, and coordinating attacks that exploited gaps in the enemy's apparently superior technology. Back on Mariner 14, the situation looked hopeless. The invaders had gathered all surviving civilians in the main hangar, preparing for what appeared to be either mass evacuation or execution. Wu, badly wounded, made a last stand at the hangar entrance with the remaining security personnel. "Fall back," he ordered his team. "Get the children to the emergency shelters." Now, as plasma fire lit up the corridor, Wu noticed something odd. The invaders' suits, which had seemed invincible, showed wear patterns. They weren't perfect soldiers. They were scavengers, raiders who relied on superior technology rather than tactical skill. He made a decision that would echo through military academies for generations. Grabbing every explosive device available, plasma grenades, reactor overload protocols, even jury-rigged oxygen tanks, Wu charged the enemy position. For Earth. For Mariner 14, the explosion that followed didn't just destroy the hangar. It created a chain reaction that damaged the invaders' flagship. The research station's reactor, destabilized by the sabotage of the invaders, began a countdown to overload. In space, the tide of battle shifted. The massive enemy flagship, damaged by the station's explosion, became vulnerable. Admiral Cross seized the moment. "All ships, concentrate fire on their command vessel. Pour everything we have into that monster." Hundreds of missiles and energy beams converged on the enemy flagship. Its shields, already weakened, collapsed. The ship didn't explode spectacularly. Instead, it seemed to fold in on itself, disappearing into a point of absolute darkness before winking out of existence. The remaining enemy vessels, suddenly without their command ship, faltered. Some attempted to flee using their cloaking technology, but Earth's newly developed sensor net, evolved during the battle itself, tracked their heat signatures through the void. "Enemy vessels are retreating, sir," Chin reported, her voice exhausted but triumphant. "Let them go," Cross responded, staring at the debris field that had been Mariner 14. "We've made our point." The aftermath was sobering. Mariner 14 lay in ruins, its structure twisted by explosions and energy weapons. 37 crew members and civilians were gone, including Lieutenant Marcus Wu, who would posthumously receive Earth's highest military honor. Only 15 survivors were recovered from emergency shelters and escape pods that had somehow remained functional. Dr. Alyssa Porter, one of the survivors, found herself changed by the experience. She held a small child, the daughter of 2 researchers who hadn't survived, as rescue teams combed through the wreckage. "They wanted our data on the atmospheric storms," she told Cross when he visited the survivor ward. "Apparently, those storms can hide entire fleets, maybe even planets. The patterns we discovered could have revolutionized not just meteorology, but military technology." Cross nodded grimly. They thought no one would notice a quiet attack on a peaceful research station. They were wrong. On Earth, the attack galvanized humanity. The age of complacency ended that day. Every nation united under a single banner for the first time in human history. The Global Council transformed into the United Earth Authority, with a mandate to defend humanity against future threats. Admiral Cross, promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth Defense Forces, oversaw a massive expansion of military and scientific research. The technology salvaged from enemy debris revolutionized human understanding of physics, leading to breakthroughs in defense shields, faster-than-light travel, and weapon systems. Dr. Porter, appointed Chief Scientific Advisor to the UEA, devoted her life to understanding the atmospheric phenomenon that had triggered the attack. Her research eventually uncovered a network of similar storm systems throughout the galaxy, storm systems that indeed hid advanced civilizations and military installations. 5 years after the attack, Porter stood in the rebuilt Mariner Station, now designated as Mariner Memorial Station, teaching a class of young scientists and military officers. The room's wall displayed a quote attributed to Lieutenant Marcus Wu. "Vigilance is the price of peace, and peace must be won each day anew. The beings who attacked us belong to what we now call the Varnak Syndicate," she explained, pointing to a holographic display. They weren't random raiders. They were scouts for a larger force, testing humanity's defenses and responses. They thought we were weak, distracted by our prosperity and peace. They thought no one would notice their quiet war against us. A young cadet raised her hand. "Dr. Porter, if they're scouts, does that mean there are more coming?" Porter exchanged a look with Cross, who stood at the back of the room. The Admiral nodded almost imperceptibly. "Yes," she answered honestly. "Intelligence suggests the Syndicate has allies, entire star systems under their control. But they've also learned something important about us." "What's that?" the cadet asked. "That when Earth is threatened, when our people are hurt, we don't just defend ourselves. We bring fire and fury that even the universe hasn't seen before." They thought no one would notice their attack. Instead, they awakened sleeping giants. The room fell silent as the significance sank in. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, but neither was it helpless. The attack on Mariner 14 had transformed Earth from a collection of nations into a united force, from peaceful explorers into determined defenders. As the class filed out, Cross approached Porter, still giving them the inspirational speech. She smiled sadly. "They need to understand. We're not fighting for conquest or expansion. We're fighting for survival, for the right to exist peacefully in this cosmos. And if more syndicates come, then we'll show them the same lesson. Earth doesn't strike first, but when we strike back, we strike with everything we have." Through the station's massive viewport, they could see the construction of humanity's first fleet of deep space patrol vessels. Each ship carried a simple motto emblazoned on its hull: "Never again." In the depths of space, beyond the reach of human telescopes, the Varnak Syndicate's remaining leadership gathered in their hidden council chamber. The failure at Mariner 14 had cost them their most powerful warship and revealed their existence to a surprisingly resilient species. "The primates have more capability than predicted," one council member reported. "Then we adjust our strategy," their supreme commander responded. "Their emotional response to the loss of civilians can be exploited. Next time, we don't fail." But even as they planned, reports filtered in from their spy networks. Earth wasn't just preparing defenses, they were actively seeking out the Syndicate's other operations. Human ships, newly equipped with technology reverse-engineered from the battle debris, had begun hunting Syndicate exploration vessels. The predators had become the prey. Back on Earth, children played in schoolyards with toy spaceships, reenacting the Battle of Helios Prime. They pretended to be Marcus Wu, making heroic last stands. They mimicked Admiral Cross, giving orders from the Nova's bridge. They acted out Dr. Porter's clever use of science to save lives. But the adults who watched them play remembered the real terror of that day. The images of a child's drawing found floating in the destroyed station's corridor. The last transmission from Mariner 14 cut off mid-sentence. The moment humanity realized the universe held monsters wearing the mask of civilization. Yet they also remembered something else. The sight of Earth's fleet arriving like avenging angels. The moment the Syndicate's flagship folded into darkness under humanity's combined firepower. And the simple truth that when pushed to the edge, humanity had pushed back harder. The memorial gardens on Earth contained a simple stone with 47 names, all those lost at Mariner 14. Beneath the list, an inscription read, "They thought no one would notice the attack. They thought we would mourn, retreat, and forget. Instead, they awakened the fury of Earth, unseen in scale, unstoppable in determination, unprecedented in unity." As humanity expanded its reach through the stars, that lesson traveled with them. The old human tendency for conflict and rivalry hadn't disappeared, but it had found a new focus, outward, toward any threat to humanity itself. The universe had tried to teach humanity fear. Instead, it had taught them resolve. Years later, when other species asked humans about the turning point that united their fractious species, the answer was always the same: the day no one expected us to fight back. The attack on Mariner 14 had been meant to destroy a research station and steal valuable data. Instead, it had forged a species that would become known throughout the galaxy for two things: their scientific curiosity and their terrifying response to anyone who threatened what they held dear. In the end, the Varnak Syndicate had been right about one thing. The atmospheric storms of Helios Prime did hide secrets that could shift the balance of power. They just hadn't anticipated which power would be shifted, or in whose favor. The unseen fury of Earth, awakened by a quiet attack that was supposed to go unnoticed, would reshape the cosmic order for generations to come. And somewhere, in the records of both human and alien civilizations, a new axiom was born. Never mistake humanity's peace for weakness. They will give you one warning: attack them anyway, and their peaceful nature will burn away like fog in the sun, revealing the predators beneath. The attack they thought no one would notice had become a declaration of war. The unseen fury they unleashed in response became legendary, and humanity's place in the universe changed forever, not as conquerors, but as guardians who had learned the hard way that peace must be defended with strength. As Admiral Cross would later say in his memoirs, "We didn't want to become warriors. The universe forced our hand. But once we picked up the sword, we discovered we wielded it with precision honed by the desperation to protect everything we loved." The stars, once seen as peaceful frontiers for exploration, were now viewed through the lens of vigilance. Every research station, every colony, every human presence beyond Earth carried a simple message to the cosmos: we come in peace. We seek knowledge. We embrace friendship. But cross us, hurt our own, threaten our future, and you will learn why predators fear humanity's dark side. The Varnak Syndicate had thought no one would notice their attack. History would remember that mistake as the moment Earth announced its arrival on the galactic stage, not with words, but with the thunder of 1,000 guns and the determination of a species united in purpose. They had struck with unseen fury, and the universe took notice. The age of humanity's cosmic innocence had ended. The era of humanity's cosmic vigilance had begun. And through it all, one truth remained constant: Earth's children would play in the gardens of peace, knowing that their parents stood guard in the darkness beyond the stars, ready to unleash that same unseen fury should anyone dare threaten their tomorrow. The attack that was supposed to go unnoticed became humanity's clarion call to the galaxy. We are here. We are strong. And we are watching. They thought no one would notice the attack. Earth struck back with unseen fury, and the universe was never the same again. In the endless dance of cosmic civilizations, humanity had taken its place, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as guardians fierce enough to make even the darkness think twice before it approached Earth's light. The story spread through the stars, carried by traders and diplomats, whispered in alien council chambers, and sung in human ballads. It became a cautionary tale for those who might consider humanity an easy target, and a source of pride for humans who ventured beyond their solar system. "Remember Mariner" became a saying among Earth's space fleet, not as a call for revenge, but as a reminder of the cost of vigilance and the price of peace. The storm systems of Helios Prime continued their eternal dance, now monitored by sensors that would never again miss the presence of those who might hide within them. And somewhere in the cosmic web, the Varnak Syndicate and others like them noted a new entry in their threat assessments. Humanity, level, extreme caution. Response to provocation, disproportionate. Recommendation, avoid at all costs. The attack that was meant to go unnoticed had become Earth's introduction to a universe that respected strength above all else. And humanity, forged in the crucible of that terrible day, had proven they possessed reserves of strength even they hadn't known existed. The unseen fury of Earth had been witnessed by all, and the message was clear. We are here, we are one, and we will defend our own with everything we have and everything we can become. They thought no one would notice. They thought wrong. And the cosmos learned to keep watching over its shoulder, wondering when, not if, humanity would strike again if threatened. For Earth had learned a fundamental truth of the universe. Peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the presence of those strong enough and united enough to make war unthinkable for those who might start it. The garden of humanity flourished under the shadow of the sword, tended by scientists and defended by warriors, all united in the purpose born from that day when no one was supposed to notice the attack. But Earth noticed. Earth remembered. And Earth was ready. The stars continued their ancient journey across the night sky, but now they shone down on a humanity no longer naive to the dangers they held. A humanity that had learned to answer cosmic threats not with fear, but with fury, unseen until the moment it was unleashed and then undeniable in its power. They thought no one would notice. Earth struck with unseen fury, and the universe took notice indeed. In the end, the greatest weapon wasn't the guns or shields or ships. It was the united will of a species that had discovered what it was fighting for. Every planet, every moon, every space station, all precious not just for themselves, but for representing the future of humanity itself. The invaders had come seeking easy prey and valuable secrets. They found neither. Instead, they found a species willing to go to extraordinary lengths to protect their own. The attack on Mariner 14 had been meant to go unnoticed, a quiet heist of scientific data and strategic advantage. Instead, it became the catalyst for humanity's greatest transformation since learning to harness fire. For in the end, the most important lesson learned that day wasn't about military tactics or scientific breakthroughs. It was about identity itself. They thought no one would notice the attack. Earth struck with unseen fury, and in doing so, discovered what it truly meant to be human. The universe had tested humanity and found it ready. The future belonged to those who could forge strength from loss, unity from diversity, and power from purpose. The future belonged to Earth, and anyone who threatened it would learn why the cosmos had begun to whisper a new name for humanity. The Furious Ones.